The metal doors of the transport ship opened with a soft hiss. Captain Minji Kim stepped onto the station platform and looked around. The Galactic Concordat station was huge, bigger than anything she had seen before. The ceiling stretched so high above that she could barely see it. Thousands of aliens walked through the wide halls. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some looked like giant insects. Some floated in the air inside special bubbles filled with water. Minji adjusted her uniform and walked forward. Behind her came 3 other humans. Lieutenant Dae-hyun Park carried their equipment bags. He was tall and moved easily despite the heavy weight. Dr. Yoonji Choi walked beside him, her eyes wide as she stared at every new alien species they passed. Ambassador Hyunwoo Lee led them all, his face calm and professional. "Stay together," Hyunwoo said quietly. "We are guests here. Remember that." They had traveled for 3 months to reach the station. The invitation had surprised everyone back on Earth. The Galactic Concordat wanted humans to join the endurance trials. It was a great honor. Every species in known space participated. The trials tested strength, speed, and endurance. Each species showed what made them special. But as they walked through the station, Minji noticed something. The alien stared at them. Not with respect. Not with curiosity. With something else. Something that looked like pity. A group of tall, blue-skinned aliens passed them. One of them laughed and said something in a clicking language. His friends joined in the laughter. They looked at the humans like someone might look at a small, weak animal. "Ignore them," Hyunwoo whispered. "We are here to learn and participate." Nothing more. They reached the main assembly hall. It was enormous. Thousands of aliens filled the space. In the center was a raised platform. Above it, holographic displays showed different worlds and landscapes. This was where the opening ceremony would happen. A short alien with green skin approached them. He had 4 arms and wore an official badge. "Humans?" he asked. His voice came from a translator device on his chest. "Yes," Hyunwoo answered. "We are the human delegation." The alien checked his data pad. "You are late. Your assigned section is over there." He pointed to a small area near the back of the hall. "The ceremony starts soon. Please hurry." They made their way to their section. As they walked, Minji heard more laughter. More whispers. She caught fragments of translated speech. "Look at them. So small. Their legs are so thin. How do they even walk? I heard their world has heavy gravity, but they look so weak." Dae-hyun leaned close to Minji. "They really don't think much of us, do they?" Minji shook her head. "Let them think what they want. We will show them what humans can do." They reached their section and sat down. Next to them was a delegation of large, furry aliens. They looked like bears that walked on 2 legs. One of them turned and looked at the humans. "You are the humans? The ones from Earth?" "Yes," Minji answered. "I am Captain Minji Kim." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "I am Mira of the Keltharn people. We have heard of your species. Your planet is dangerous, yes? Many predators?" "Yes," Yoonji said. "Our world has many dangerous animals," Mira nodded. "And yet you survived. You must be clever. Good at hiding, perhaps?" She did not say it in a mean way, but the implication was clear. Humans survived by avoiding danger, not by being strong. Before anyone could respond, the lights dimmed. The ceremony was beginning. A massive holographic image appeared above the platform. It showed an alien with silver skin and multiple eyes. His voice boomed through the hall. "Welcome, honored species of the Galactic Concordat. Welcome to the endurance trials." The crowd erupted in cheers and various alien sounds. Some roared, some chirped, some made sounds that hurt Minji's ears. For 10,000 cycles we have held these trials. Each species shows their greatest gifts. The Skrill show their incredible speed. The Keltharn show their powerful endurance. The Vreks show their strength in water and on land. Every species has something that makes them special. The hologram changed. It showed different aliens performing amazing feats. A Skrill ran so fast it was just a blur. A Keltharn ran for what looked like hours without stopping. A Vreks lifted weights that must have weighed several tons. This year we welcome a new species. The humans of Earth. The hologram showed Earth. Then it showed humans doing various activities. Running, swimming, climbing, nothing. Looked particularly impressive compared to what the other species could do. More laughter rippled through the crowd. Minji felt her face get hot, but she kept her expression neutral. The trials will test every aspect of physical ability. the announcer continued. But the main event is the Grand Endurance Course. 50 kilometers across varied terrain. Obstacles, challenges. This will test the true limits of every species. 50 kilometers. Minji had run longer distances in her training back on Earth. But she looked around at the other species. They all looked confident, excited, like this was going to be easy for them. The hologram showed the course. It wound through artificial environments that mimicked different planetary conditions: desert, jungle, mountains, ice fields. It looked challenging but not impossible. Most species complete the course over several days, the announcer said, taking necessary rest periods as your biology requires. The Keltharn currently hold the record. They completed the course in 47 hours with only 12 rest periods. The Keltharn section erupted in proud roars. Mira stood and beat her chest. The other species applauded respectfully. Daehyun leaned close to Minji. 47 hours? With rest periods? Minji nodded slowly. Something was not right here. 50 kilometers should not take 47 hours, even with difficult terrain, unless... They can't run for long, she whispered. None of them can, Yoonji overheard. What do you mean? Think about it. They are talking about rest periods. Multiple rest periods. For 50 kilometers. Minji's mind raced. They are not built for endurance. Not like us, Hyunwoo turned to look at her. Are you saying what I think you are saying? Minji met his eyes. I think we might be the only persistence hunters here. The ceremony continued. More species were introduced. Each one boasted about their abilities. The Skrill could run at speeds of over 100 kilometers per hour, but only for a few minutes. The Vreks were incredibly strong, but needed to rest in water every few hours. The Keltharn were considered the endurance champions because they could run for 2 whole hours without stopping. 2 hours. Minji ran marathons back on Earth. She had run for 5, 6, sometimes 8 hours without stopping, and she was not even the best. Daehyun had completed ultramarathons. 100-mile races through mountains. This is going to be interesting, Daehyun said quietly. The ceremony ended. The species began to mingle. Several aliens approached the human section, curiosity overcoming their dismissive attitudes. A tall, insect-like Skrill skittered over. Humans, it clicked. What is your specialty? You must have something that helped you survive on your dangerous world. Minji stood and smiled politely. We can run, the Skrill's antennae twitched. Run? But we Skrill are the fastest runners in the galaxy. We can reach speeds you cannot imagine. I am sure you can, Minji said. But how long can you run? How long? The Skrill seemed confused by the question. We run until we catch our prey. A few minutes at most, I see, Minji said. We can run for hours, the Skrill laughed. Hours? Impossible. No species can run for hours. You would overheat. Your muscles would tear. Your heart would explode. Mira the Keltharn had been listening. The human is joking, surely. Even we Keltharn, the greatest endurance runners in the Concordat, can only manage 2 hours before we must rest. Yoonji spoke up. On Earth, humans regularly run for much longer than 2 hours. Some run for a full day without stopping. Silence fell over the group of aliens. They stared at the humans. That is not possible, Mira said flatly. You are exaggerating to seem impressive. Hyunwoo stepped forward. We will prove it during the trials. That is why we are here. The aliens exchanged looks. Some laughed nervously. Others looked thoughtful. One Vrex in the back made a gesture that Minji did not understand, but it looked like a warning sign. As the crowds dispersed, Minji heard more whispers. But now they sounded different. Less mocking. More uncertain. The trials would begin tomorrow, and the galaxy was about to learn something about humans that Earth's ancient prey had learned millions of years ago. When humans started running, they did not stop. The morning of the trials arrived. Minji woke early and did her usual stretches. She had slept well despite the strange gravity of the station. The artificial gravity here was lighter than Earth's. That would help, she thought. Make the running easier. She met Daehyun in the hallway outside their quarters. He was already dressed in his running gear. Simple shorts and a breathable shirt, standard running shoes. Nothing fancy. Nothing that would make the other species think humans had special equipment. Ready? He asked. Always, Minji replied. They made their way to the starting area. The Grand Endurance course began in a massive hangar that had been converted into a staging ground. Thousands of aliens were already there, participants from dozens of species prepared in different ways. The Skrill did rapid sprints back and forth, warming up their incredible speed. The Keltharn performed breathing exercises. The Vreks soaked in special water tanks. The humans just stood there waiting. A race official approached them. He was a small bird-like alien with bright feathers. "You are the human participants?" "Yes," Minji answered. "Captain Minji Kim and Lieutenant Daehyun Park." The official checked his datapad. "Only 2 participants? Most species send at least 5. 2 is enough," Daehyun said with a smile. The official made a note. "Very well. Do you need any special accommodations? Extra rest stations? Medical support?" "Just water stations along the course," Minji said. "Regular intervals would be good." "Of course. Those are standard. Every 5 kilometers there is a rest station with water, food, and medical support." The official looked at them carefully. "I must warn you, this course is extremely difficult. No one expects you to complete it in one attempt. It is perfectly acceptable to rest as long as you need." "We understand," Minji said. "Thank you." The official flew away, still looking concerned. Mira approached them. The large Keltharn looked impressive in her own running gear. "Humans, I wanted to wish you luck. The course is harder than you might think." "Thank you," Minji said. "Good luck to you as well." Mira hesitated. "Last night, you said humans can run for hours. You were serious?" "Very serious. But how?" "Our scientists have studied endurance. There are biological limits. All species overheat when they run for too long. All species must rest." Yunji had joined them. She had her medical scanner ready to monitor their vitals during the race. "Humans sweat," she explained. "We have millions of sweat glands all over our bodies. When we run, we sweat. The sweat evaporates and cools us down. We can regulate our temperature while running." Mira stared at her. "You leak water to stay cool?" "Basically, yes." "That is," Mira searched for words. "That is disturbing." A loud horn sounded. The race was about to begin. All the participants moved to the starting line. There were about 200 aliens in total. Skrill dominated the front, eager to use their speed. Keltharn stood in confident groups. Vreks positioned themselves near water-accessible routes. The 2 humans stood near the middle of the pack. Another horn. Then another. The race began. The Skrill exploded forward like bullets. They covered the first kilometer in less than 2 minutes, disappearing into the first section of the course. The sound of their passage was like thunder. The other species followed at their own paces. The Keltharn ran with long, powerful strides. They looked strong, confident. The Vreks moved in a strange galloping motion that looked awkward but covered ground quickly. Minji and Daehyun started at what felt like a comfortable jogging pace. About 4 minutes per kilometer. Nothing intense. Just a good, steady pace they could maintain for a long time. The first section was desert terrain. Hot lights beat down from above, mimicking a harsh sun. The ground was sand and rock. It would have been difficult for humans who were not used to running, but Minji had trained in deserts back on Earth. This was nothing new. They passed the first rest station at 5 kilometers. The Skrill were already there, collapsed and gasping. They had burned out their incredible speed and now needed to recover. Medical staff tended to them. Minji and Daehyun did not stop. "They just kept running. Should we slow down?" Daehyun asked. "No," Minji said. "This pace is comfortable. Let us maintain it." At 10 kilometers, they entered a jungle section. The air here was humid and thick. Vegetation crowded the path. Other species were slowing down, struggling with the heat, but the humidity helped the humans. Their sweat evaporated quickly in the warm air. Their bodies stayed cool. If anything, Minji felt better here than in the desert section. They passed several Keltharn who were running hard. Mira was among them. She looked at the humans in surprise as they jogged past. "You are not tired?" she called out. "Not yet," Minji called back. 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers. The course changed to a mountain section with steep inclines. This slowed everyone down. The Keltharn excelled here with their powerful leg muscles. But even they needed to slow their pace significantly. Minji and Daehyun adjusted their stride but kept moving. Up the slopes. Down the other side. Their breathing was heavier now but controlled. Steady. At the 25-kilometer mark, they reached another rest station. This was the halfway point. Most of the other participants had stopped here. They lay on cooling pads or soaked in water tanks. Medical staff moved among them, checking vital signs. The two humans ran past without stopping. A medical officer saw them and spoke urgently into a communicator. "The humans are not stopping. I repeat, the humans are passing the halfway station without rest." Minji heard the transmission through the open comm system. She smiled slightly but kept running. "They think we are crazy," Daehyun said. "Maybe we are," Minji replied. "But this is not even hard yet." The second half of the course began with an ice field section. The temperature dropped dramatically. Many species struggled here. The cold affected their muscles, slowed their reactions, but humans could adapt to cold. Minji and Daehyun had trained in winter conditions. The cold air felt good in their lungs. Their bodies generated heat from the constant running. They were comfortable. At 30 kilometers, they caught up to the leading Keltharn group. These were the best endurance runners in the galaxy. They had been running for almost 2 hours now. They were approaching their biological limit. Mira was in this group. She saw the humans coming and her eyes widened. "You are still running? Without rest?" "Yes," Minji said simply as they passed her. "But that is impossible," Mira shouted after them. "You should be dead." Behind them, Minji heard Mira saying something to her teammates in her own language. It sounded urgent, frightened. At 35 kilometers, they were alone. Every other participant was either behind them resting or had dropped out completely. The course stretched ahead with no one in sight. "Should we speed up?" Daehyun asked. "No," Minji said. "Maintain pace. We still have 15 kilometers to go." The final sections of the course were designed to be brutal. Vertical climbing walls, deep water crossings, obstacle courses that required crawling and jumping. These sections were meant to be attempted. After long rest periods when participants were fresh, the humans approached them after running for 3.5 hours. Straight, Minji climbed the wall using the holds. Her arms were tired but functional. At the top, she paused only long enough to drink water from her bottle. Then she continued. The water crossing was deep and cold. They swam across, their running shoes heavy with water. On the other side, they kept running, shoes squishing with each step. 40 kilometers. 45 kilometers. Race officials watched their progress on monitors, speaking in urgent tones. No one had expected this. The humans were going to complete the entire course without stopping. In one attempt. In just over 5 hours. The current record was 47 hours with 12 rest periods. The humans were going to shatter that record. At 48 kilometers, Minji felt the fatigue in her legs. Her breathing was harder now. Daehyun was showing signs of tiredness too. But they were almost done. Just 2 more kilometers. The final section was another desert leading to the finish line. The lights above blazed hot. The ground seemed to shimmer with heat. Minji focused on her breathing. In and out, steady. She had run 50 kilometers before. She could do it again. Beside her, Daehyun maintained his pace. His shirt was soaked with sweat. Water dripped from his hair. But he kept moving. They could see the finish line now. A massive arch with holographic displays. Crowds of aliens had gathered there, watching the monitors in disbelief. 1 kilometer left. Minji's legs burned. Her lungs ached. But the end was close, 500 meters. 400, 300. The crowds parted as they approached. Aliens stared at them. Some of their expressions showed admiration, but most showed something else. Fear. 200 meters. 100. They crossed the finish line together. Time. 5 hours, 17 minutes. No rest periods. Minji bent over, hands on her knees, breathing hard. Daehyun did the same. They were tired. Very tired, but they were fine. Give them some water and food, let them rest for a bit, and they would be ready to go again if needed. Medical staff rushed over with scanners and equipment, clearly expecting to find the humans near death. "We are fine," Minji told them between breaths. "Just need water." A medical officer scanned her anyway. His expression changed from concern to confusion to horror. "Your core temperature is normal. Your heart rate is elevated but not dangerous. Your muscle tissue shows fatigue but no damage." The news spread across the station faster than anyone expected. By evening, every species in the Galactic Concordat knew what had happened. The humans had run 50 kilometers without stopping. They had done it in 5 hours while the current record holders needed 47 hours with multiple rest periods. But it was not just the record that disturbed the other species. It was what the record meant. In the human quarters, Minji sat with her team. They were reviewing the day's events. Ambassador Hyunwoo looked worried. "We have a problem," he said. "The Concordat Council has requested an emergency meeting. They want to discuss humanity's participation in future events." "What kind of discussion?" Yoonji asked. "The kind where they decide if we are too dangerous to be part of the Concordat." Minji set down her water bottle. "Because we can run?" "Because you can run and not stop," Hyunwoo corrected. "They are scared. I have been receiving messages all day. Species representatives asking questions about Earth, about human evolution, about what other abilities we might have hidden." Daehyun laughed without humor. "Hidden? We did not hide anything. We told them we could run for hours. They did not believe us." "I know," Hyunwoo said, "but now they do believe us. And it terrifies them." Yoonji pulled up her datapad. "I have been monitoring the station's networks. Do you want to know what they are searching for?" "Tell us," Minji said. "Persistence hunting. Human evolution. Earth's extinct megafauna. They are finding records of how humans hunted mammoths and ancient bison, how we chased animals across entire continents until they collapsed." Yoonji scrolled through more data. Someone found a video from Earth, a documentary about human endurance. It shows modern humans doing ultra-marathons, 100-mile races, 200-mile races, some lasting several days, and, Minji asked, "And they are calling it horror content. The video has been flagged as disturbing material." Silence filled the room. "They think our athletic events are horror shows?" Daehyun said slowly. "From their perspective," Yoonji said, "imagine if you saw aliens running for days without stopping, never sleeping, never truly resting, just running and running until they reached some arbitrary finish line. Then imagine those same aliens could do it while carrying heavy loads, or in extreme heat or cold, or across mountains." Minji started to understand. "They are seeing us the way prey animals saw our ancestors." "Exactly," Yoonji said. "On Earth, what happened when a predator started chasing prey? The prey ran as fast as possible, trying to escape. And usually the prey was faster than the predator. A deer can outrun a human easily. But we did not need to be faster," Daehyun said. "We just needed to keep following." "Right. The deer would run at full speed, then stop to rest, thinking it was safe. But then it would see the human again, still coming, still tracking, so it would run again, and stop again, and run again. Each time the deer got more tired, more desperate, until finally it could not run anymore. It would just stand there, too exhausted to move while the human walked up to it." Minji felt a chill. She had never thought about her running ability from that perspective before. She ran because she enjoyed it, because it was healthy, because it was a challenge. She had never connected it to ancient hunting tactics, but the aliens did not see enjoyment or health or challenge. They saw a predator that never stopped, a species that could chase them forever. "There is more," Yoonji said. "I accessed the Concordat medical database. I wanted to understand how other species process endurance. And most species can do short bursts of intense activity, sprinting, fighting, fleeing. This uses anaerobic respiration. It is powerful but produces lactic acid that builds up in muscles. After a few minutes, the muscles stop working properly. The species must rest to clear the lactic acid." "We do that too," Minji said. "When we sprint, we get lactic acid buildup." "Yes, but humans have something else. We have incredible aerobic capacity. Our bodies can use oxygen to fuel sustained activity. We have large lungs, efficient hearts, and muscles designed for endurance. When we run at a moderate pace, we can do it almost indefinitely because we are using aerobic respiration, which does not produce problematic lactic acid buildup." "Most species cannot do that?" Daehyun asked. "No species in the Concordat can do that," Yoonji said. "The Keltharn come closest. They can manage about 2 hours before their bodies overheat. But humans can sweat. We can cool ourselves while running. That is unique. No other intelligent species has that ability." Hyunwoo stood and walked to the window. Outside, aliens moved through the station corridors. Many of them kept glancing nervously at the human quarters. "They are afraid," he said. "I have been in politics for 20 years. I know how to read fear. Every species out there is calculating what it would mean if humans decided to become hostile. We would never—" Minji started. "They do not know that," Hyunwoo interrupted. "They just learned that humans are apex persistence predators. They are imagining scenarios. What if humans decided to hunt other species? How would you escape something that never stops chasing you? You cannot outrun it indefinitely. You cannot hide because it will track you. You cannot fight it because you will be exhausted and it will be fresh. That is ridiculous, Daehyun said. We are civilized. We do not hunt people. Are we sure about that? Yoonji asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. I mean, we do not hunt people now, she clarified. But humans have hunted other humans throughout history. Warfare, pursuit of enemies. Tracking criminals. We might call it different things, but the principle is the same. Humans pursuing other humans with relentless determination until the target is caught. The room fell silent again. Minji thought about her own training. Marathon running. Ultra-marathons. She had always framed it as a personal challenge, pushing her limits. But the mechanics were the same as ancient persistence hunting. Run at a sustainable pace. Maintain that pace for hours. Never stop until you reach your goal. A message alert sounded. Hyunwoo checked his device. The emergency council meeting is tomorrow morning, he said. They want all of us there, particularly Minji and Daehyun. What will they do? Minji asked. I do not know. But we need to prepare. We need to show them that humans are not a threat. That night, Minji could not sleep. She got up and decided to go for a run. Just a light jog to clear her head. She changed into her running gear and left the quarters. The station corridors were quiet at night. Most species were sleeping. She started running, keeping her pace slow and easy. After a few minutes, she noticed something. Aliens were moving out of her way, not just stepping aside, but actively fleeing. A group of small insect-like aliens saw her coming and scrambled into a side corridor. A large four-armed alien pressed himself against the wall as she passed, his eyes wide with fear. Minji slowed to a walk. She had not meant to scare anyone. She was just running, but to them she was not just running. She was demonstrating the ability that made humans apex predators, the ability to move continuously without tiring, the ability that meant nothing could escape them if they decided to chase it. She walked back to the quarters, her easy jog ruined by the realization of what she represented to these people. Daehyun was awake when she returned. Could not sleep either. Went for a run, Minji said. It did not go well. They ran from you? Yes, Daehyun nodded. I have been thinking about what we should say tomorrow at the council meeting. Any ideas? Tell them the truth. We do not use our endurance to hunt anymore. We use it to help people. Search and rescue. Emergency response. Disaster relief. Humans run toward danger to help others, not to hurt them. You think they will believe that? They have to. Because the alternative is they kick us out of the Concordat, or worse, they decide we are too dangerous and try to restrict human movement in the galaxy. Minji sat down heavily. This was supposed to be simple. Participate in their trials. Show goodwill. Make friends. We did show goodwill, Daehyun said. It is not our fault that our biology frightens them. But was it really not their fault? Minji wondered. They had known they were different. They had known humans could do things other species could not. Maybe they should have been more careful, more gradual in demonstrating their abilities. No, that was not right either. They had told the aliens they could run for hours. The aliens had not believed them. What were humans supposed to do? Lose on purpose to make others feel safe? The next morning, all the humans gathered early. Hyunwoo briefed them on council procedure. Let me do most of the talking, he said. Answer questions honestly but briefly. Do not volunteer extra information. And most importantly, stay calm no matter what they say. They walked to the council chambers together. The halls were full of aliens all watching them. Some curious, some fearful, some openly hostile. The council chamber was circular with raised seats arranged in tiers. Representatives from dozens of species sat in their designated areas. At the center was a speaking floor where the humans would stand. As they entered, the chamber fell silent. Hundreds of alien eyes fixed on them. A voice spoke from above. It was the same announcer from the opening ceremony, the silver-skinned alien with multiple eyes. The Galactic Concordat Council recognizes the human delegation. You have been called here to address concerns about your species' participation in Concordat activities. Hyunwoo stepped forward. We are honored to address the council. The council chamber descended into chaos. Representatives from dozens of species shouted questions and concerns. Some demanded humans be restricted. Others wanted more tests. A few even suggested humans should be escorted out of Concordat space entirely. Hyunwoo stood calmly at the center, waiting for the noise to die down. Beside him, Minji watched the alien faces. She saw fear there. Real, genuine fear. These were intelligent beings who suddenly understood they were not at the top of the endurance hierarchy. That realization shook them deeply. Finally, the silver-skinned announcer called for order. Enough. We will proceed with decorum. The chamber quieted, though tension still hung in the air like electricity. A new voice spoke. It came from a being Minji had not seen before. Floating in a water-filled sphere was a creature that looked like a jellyfish with dozens of trailing tentacles. The translation device rendered its bubbling speech into words. I am Council Elder Boren of the Aquinas. I have reviewed the biological data on humans. I wish to ask Captain Minji Kim a direct question. I will answer if I can, Minji said. Your species evolved by chasing prey to exhaustion. This is fact, but humans no longer live as hunter-gatherers. You have technology, weapons, vehicles. Why maintain such extreme endurance capabilities? Why do you still train to run for such distances? Minji thought carefully about her answer. We maintain these abilities because they are part of who we are. Yes, we have technology, but we also value physical fitness. We run for health, for mental clarity, for the challenge, and she paused. We run because sometimes people need help in places where technology cannot reach. Explain, Boren said. Yunji stepped forward. On Earth, humans often live in remote areas, mountains, deserts, forests. When someone is injured or lost in these places, rescue vehicles cannot always reach them quickly. So humans run to help. Search and rescue teams, medical responders. They carry equipment and run for hours to reach people who need assistance. You use your predator abilities for rescue? Mira asked from her section, surprise evident in her voice. Yes, Daehyun said. Many human emergency responders are trained in endurance running. We have mountain rescue teams that can run up steep terrain carrying injured people. We have desert rescue units that can cover vast distances in extreme heat. We use our abilities to save lives. The chamber fell quiet. This was clearly not what they had expected to hear. The Skrill representative spoke again, his tone less aggressive now. You are saying humans evolved as persistence hunters, but you now use those same abilities for helping others. That is correct, Hyunwoo said. Human society evolved beyond hunting for survival thousands of years ago. We now use our physical abilities for sports, for health, and for helping those in need. Boren's tentacles rippled in a way that suggested thought. This is unexpected, but it does not fully address our concerns. The capability remains. If humans decided to use their endurance for hostile purposes, what defense would other species have? Before anyone could answer, an alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed. The calm discussion transformed into panic. The silver-skinned announcer touched controls on his podium. We are receiving a distress signal. A colony transport ship has crashed on Viren Prime's surface. The ship was carrying 300 passengers, mixed species. Holographic displays appeared above the council floor, showing the planet below. A ship had come down hard in a mountainous region far from any settlements. Survivors? Someone asked. Scans show multiple life signs, but they are scattered across 80 kilometers of rough terrain. Local wildlife is already moving toward the crash site. Send rescue vehicles, Mira commanded. The terrain is too rough. Standard vehicles cannot navigate it effectively. We would need specialized equipment, and that would take time to bring from other systems. How much time? Boren asked. 36 hours minimum. And how long before the survivors are in critical danger? The announcer consulted his displays. The planet will experience a radiation storm in 18 hours. Anyone on the surface without shelter will be exposed to lethal levels of radiation. Additionally, local predators are already being drawn to the crash site. The council erupted into frantic discussion. Representatives shouted suggestions. Send ships anyway. Call for help from nearby systems. Deploy what rescue units they had available. Yinwoo looked at Minji. She looked back at him. No words needed to be exchanged. They both knew what had to be done. Minji stepped forward. We can help. The chamber went silent again. What did you say? Boren asked. Humans can help, Minji repeated. We can reach the survivors on foot. On foot? The silver-skinned announcer looked shocked. The survivors are spread across 80 kilometers of mountain terrain. Even if you could run that far, which you have proven you can, how would you carry supplies? How would you evacuate injured survivors? We have human crew on the station, Hyunwoo said. 20 trained personnel, all capable of distance running. They can carry equipment. medical supplies, emergency shelters, and they can help evacuate anyone who cannot walk. This is madness, a Vrex representative said. Even humans cannot run 80 kilometers through mountains while carrying injured people. Daehyun spoke calmly. Actually, we can. Ultra-marathon runners on Earth regularly cover 100 miles through mountain ranges. Some races require carrying all your own supplies. We have people trained for exactly this kind of endurance challenge. But this is not a race, Mira said. These are real lives at stake. Which is why we have to try, Minji said. You asked what humans use their endurance for. This is it. This is exactly what we evolved to do. Not to hunt, not to harm, but to persist. To keep going when others cannot. To reach people who need help. Boren's tentacles moved in complex patterns. You would risk your lives for species you just met? Species who have spent the last day discussing whether you are too dangerous to be allowed in civilized space? Yes, Minji said simply. Because that is what the right thing to do is. The council members looked at each other. Minji could see them calculating. Weighing options. The normal rescue would take too long. The survivors would die. But trusting humans meant putting lives in the hands of the species they feared. If we allow this, Boren said slowly, you would be representing all of humanity. If you fail, if anyone dies because of human error, the consequences will be severe. We understand, Hyunwoo said. But if we do not try, people will definitely die. We are offering you a chance to save them. More discussion. More debate. Finally, Boren spoke again. The Council approves the human rescue mission. You will be provided with all necessary equipment and support. But make no mistake, humans. The galaxy will be watching. This will determine your place in the Concordat. 30 minutes later, Minji stood in the equipment bay with 19 other humans. They were all crew members from the transport ship that had brought them to the station. All were trained in various physical disciplines. Some were military, some were scientists, some were engineers, but all of them could run. Yoonji helped distribute equipment. Each human received a pack containing medical supplies, emergency rations, water purification tablets, and a portable shelter. The packs weighed about 30 kilograms each. That is a lot of weight, one of the crew members said. His name was Jinho, a young engineer. We have run with more, Minji said. Remember your training. Steady pace. If you feel yourself struggling, slow down but do not stop. We have 18 hours before the radiation storm hits. A female crew member named Sora raised her hand. What about the predators? Avoid them if possible, Daehyun said. But if they attack, remember that we have one advantage. We can outlast them. Any predator that chases us will exhaust itself long before we do. The crew members nodded. They looked nervous but determined. Hyunwoo approached Minji. The council has assigned observers. They will track your progress and monitor everything. Some of them still think you will fail. Then we will prove them wrong, Minji said. They boarded a shuttle that would take them to the planet's surface. As they descended through the atmosphere, Minji looked out at Varen Prime. It was a beautiful planet with green forests, snow-capped mountains, and deep blue oceans. It looked a lot like Earth. The shuttle landed at a safe distance from the crash site. The humans disembarked into cool mountain air. The terrain was rocky with steep slopes covered in alien vegetation. In the distance, they could see smoke rising from where the transport ship had gone down. Minji checked her scanner. It showed dots representing survivor locations. They were scattered in a rough line extending 80 kilometers from the main crash site. Some survivors had been thrown clear during the crash. Others had evacuated and gotten lost in the unfamiliar terrain. We split into teams, Minji said. 2 humans per team. Each team takes a section of the search area. Move fast but stay safe. Remember, we have to last 18 hours. The teams formed quickly. Minji paired with Daehyun, Sora paired with Jinho. Others formed their own partnerships. Ready? Minji asked. Everyone nodded. Then let us run. They started moving. Not sprinting. Not walking. A steady, ground-eating jog that humans could maintain for hours. Their feet found purchase on the rocky ground. Their breathing fell into rhythm. The packs on their backs felt heavy but manageable. Back on the station, every screen showed the human rescue mission. The mountains of Varen Prime were beautiful and deadly. Sharp rocks jutted from steep slopes. Dense alien vegetation hid sudden drops and ravines. The air grew thinner as elevation increased. It was exactly the kind of terrain that made rescue operations nearly impossible. but Minji and Daehyun moved through it like they were born to it. Their feet found solid ground instinctively. Their breathing adjusted to the thin air. After 5 kilometers, they reached their first survivor. She was a young Skrill, her insect-like body twisted at an odd angle. One of her legs was clearly broken. When she saw the humans approaching, her antennae twitched in fear. "Please," she clicked weakly, "do not hurt me." Minji knelt beside her, carefully setting down her pack. "We are here to help. My name is Captain Minji Kim. This is Lieutenant Daehyun Park. We are going to get you somewhere safe." The Skrill's eyes were wide with disbelief. You ran here? Through the mountains?" Daehyun said, pulling out medical supplies. "Hold still. I need to stabilize your leg." He worked quickly and efficiently, splinting the broken leg with practiced ease. Minji scanned the surrounding area for threats. She could hear something moving through the brush nearby. Local wildlife attracted by the scent of injury. "We need to move," she said. "Can you walk?" I do not know," the Skrill said. "Then we will carry you," Daehyun said. He fashioned a carry harness from emergency materials, positioning the small Skrill on his back. She weighed perhaps 20 kilograms. Combined with his pack, he was now carrying 50 kilograms. "This is too much," the Skrill protested. "You cannot run with this weight." "Watch us," Daehyun said. They started moving again. Daehyun's pace slowed slightly, but he still maintained a steady jog. The Skrill clung to his back, her fear gradually transforming into amazement. Back on the station, the council watched this scene play out on their monitors. A human running through mountain terrain while carrying an injured alien and a full pack of supplies. It should have been impossible. It was impossible for any other species, but humans did it anyway. Other teams were finding survivors too. Sora and Jinho reached a group of 3 Keltharn who had taken shelter in a cave. The Keltharn were terrified when the humans arrived, still remembering yesterday's discussion about persistence predators. "We will not harm you," Sora said gently. "We are evacuating everyone to the landing site." "Can you walk?" One of the Keltharn, a male named Torin, stepped forward. "We can walk, but not far. We have been injured." "Then we will help you," Jinho said. He examined their injuries quickly. Cuts and bruises, but nothing immediately life-threatening. "Stay together. Follow our pace. If you need to rest, tell us." They started moving. The Keltharn tried to keep up, but within an hour they were struggling. Humans might be able to run for hours, but the Keltharn were already exhausted from the crash and their injuries. Sora made a decision. "Jinho, you take 2 of them." "I will take 1. We will carry them." "Are you sure?" Torin asked. "We are heavy." "We are sure," Sora said. She knelt down, allowing the smallest Keltharn to climb onto her back. Even the smallest Keltharn weighed at least 40 kilograms. With her pack, Sora was now carrying 70 kilograms. She stood up smoothly and started running. Not as fast as before, but still faster than the injured Keltharn could walk. Behind her, Jinho carried the other 2, alternating them every few kilometers to distribute the weight. Torin ran alongside them, his breathing labored. "Your species, you are extraordinary. We are just doing what needs to be done," Sora said. Her breath was coming harder now, but her pace remained steady. 6 hours into the rescue, Minji and Daehyun had evacuated 4 survivors to the landing site and were heading out for their 5th run. The Skrill they had rescued first refused to leave the landing site, insisting on watching for the humans to return. "Why do they keep going?" she asked a medical officer. "They must be exhausted." "Because there are still people out there who need help," the medical officer said. He was of Rex named Gorath. Humans do not give up easily. Minji's legs ached now. Her shoulders were sore from the pack, but she pushed the discomfort aside. There were still survivors scattered across the mountains, and the radiation storm was getting closer. They had 12 hours left. The terrain got worse as they ventured further from the crash site. Steeper slopes, deeper ravines, and the predators were getting bolder. Daehyun spotted one first, a large 6-legged creature that looked like a cross between a bear and a reptile. It was stalking 2 survivors, a pair of small aquatic aliens who had taken shelter behind some rocks. "We need to distract it," Minji said. "I have an idea," Daehyun replied. He picked up a rock and threw it at the predator, hitting it squarely on the side. The creature roared and turned toward them. "Run!" Daehyun said. They ran, not away from the survivors but parallel to them, drawing the predator away. The creature gave chase, its 6 legs carrying it at impressive speed. But speed was not the same as endurance. For 10 minutes, the predator chased them. It was fast, faster than the humans could sprint. But the humans did not need to sprint. They just needed to keep running at a pace they could maintain. Slowly, the predator began to fall behind. Its breathing became labored, its movements less coordinated. It was exhausting itself trying to catch prey that would not tire. Finally, the predator gave up. It stopped, sides heaving, and watched as the humans circled back toward the survivors. The creature made no attempt to resume the chase. It was done. Minji and Daehyun reached the aquatic aliens and got them to safety. As they ran back toward the landing site, Minji realized what they had just done. They had used persistence hunting tactics, not to kill the predator, but to exhaust it and protect others. The same abilities that once made humans dangerous predators now made them effective protectors. On the station, Mira watched with tears in her large eyes. They outran a local predator. They actually exhausted it into submission. And they did it to save others, Yunji said. That is the key difference. Humans could be dangerous, but we choose not to be. 10 hours into the rescue. 14 hours. 16 hours. The humans kept running. Some teams had covered over 60 kilometers by now, making multiple trips between the crash site and the landing area. They were all exhausted. Their legs trembled with fatigue. But they did not stop. The radiation storm was 2 hours away now. Most survivors had been evacuated, but there were still 5 unaccounted for. They were the furthest out, nearly 80 kilometers from the landing site. Minji and Daehyun were closest to their position. But they had already run nearly 90 kilometers today. Their bodies were at their limit. Can you make it? Daehyun asked. His voice was hoarse with exhaustion. We have to, Minji said. 2 more kilometers. We can do 2 more kilometers, they pushed forward. Every step was agony now. Their muscles screamed for rest. Their bodies demanded they stop. But they kept moving, 1 foot in front of the other. They found the last survivors huddled together in a small depression. 2 Keltharn adults and 3 children. The adults were injured and could barely move. The children were terrified. We are taking you home, Minji said. She did not have the energy for elaborate explanations. She and Daehyun quickly assessed the situation. They would need to carry all 5. It was impossible. They were too tired. The weight was too much. The distance too far. But they were going to do it anyway. They rigged carrying harnesses for the children, securing them to their backs and fronts. The adult Keltharn were too large to carry that way, so Daehyun and Minji each supported one, letting them lean heavily on the humans as they moved. The return journey was the hardest thing Minji had ever done. Her legs barely responded to her commands, her vision blurred with exhaustion. Beside her, Daehyun was in the same condition. But they kept moving, 1 kilometer, half a kilometer, quarter kilometer. The landing site came into view. The shuttle was there, engines warming up. Other humans were there too, having completed their own rescues. When they saw Minji and Daehyun approaching with the last survivors, they ran to help. Together they got everyone on board. The last survivor was secured just as the first radiation readings began to spike. The shuttle lifted off as the storm began. Through the windows they could see the mountains below being battered by invisible radiation. Anyone still on the surface would have died within minutes. But everyone was safe. All 300 survivors had been evacuated. No one had been left behind. The shuttle docked with the station. The humans stumbled out, barely able to stand. Medical teams rushed forward, but the humans waved them off. Check the survivors first, Minji said. We are fine. She was not fine. None of them were fine. They had run for nearly 18 hours. They had covered distances that should have been impossible. They had carried loads that should have broken them. But they had done it. The council chamber was silent as the humans entered. They walked slowly, their exhaustion evident. But they stood straight and met the eyes of the alien representatives without shame. Boren spoke first. You did it. You saved them all. Yes, Hyunwoo said simply. We watched everything, Mira said. She stood and descended from the Keltharn section. She approached Minji directly. For a moment, Minji thought the large alien might attack. Instead, Mira knelt. I was wrong, Mira said. My species was wrong. We saw predators when we should have seen guardians. We saw danger when